From the Clark Ford Studio in Oxford, Mississippi, MBW Digital proudly presents the Oxford Exxon Podcast.
I'd say thanks for tuning in, but why am I going to give you a round of applause for something you're supposed to do, to be frank?
And now, here are your hosts, Chase Parham.
And broadcast school has really paid off.
And Neil McCready.
I deserve to be on TV.
Welcome into this Tuesday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neil McCready, Clark Ford Studio this morning. We are brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon. We've been telling you, or at least we told you yesterday, about the You Gotta Believe football camp coming to Jackson. That is July 8th and 9th. There's still time to register, so take advantage of that. Go to ygbfootball.org. You just click on the register button if you're a coach, if you're a parent. Get as many kids involved as possible. We told you it was a great event last year. It'll be a great event this year as well. A lot of NFL players taking part. Mike Hilton, Dante Moncrief, A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf, Chad Kelly as well. So a lot of those guys. So good day, good chance there for the player in your life down in Jackson against July 8th and 9th. So check it out online. ygbfootball.org. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford Studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900 is the number. Call the number, ask for Corey Clark, tell Corey what Ford you are looking for, and he'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's really that simple. There's no hassle, there's no haggle, there's no, you just, it's a transaction. You get a bottom line deal right off the bat, and then you decide what you want to do with it. You can let that be a starting point for yourself as you move forward, or you can do what I've done. And that's I've done it 3 times now. And that's get into a Ford vehicle from Clark Ford. You'll be thrilled with your product, thrilled with the service after the sale, everything that you could want from a car dealer, everything you could want from a car transaction. Corey wants to be your truck guy. He wants to be your car guy. He'll prove it to you. Call the number 662-257-1900. Tell him that you heard about Clark Ford on this podcast, and you'll save $500 off your bottom line.
So we'll start with the big news. We've already discussed a little bit of what it means, but yesterday Robbie Ashford does do what we all expected. He commits to Ole Miss over a lot of different offers. Could have gone to a lot of different places. It was thought to be Auburn for a long time, but at the end of the day, he commits to the Rebels. He puts out a tweet that has him in a baseball uniform, a football uniform, and has a paragraph that I do have to say, Neil, was incredibly grammatically correct for a prospect as they committed. I mean, didn't use the notes app. It looks like it's something else, and there's like commas in the right place and everything with this kid.
Yeah, you're going to people are not going to like this, what I'm about to say.
Okay.
I judge people on their grammar. I judge. I make sweeping assertions based on grammatical use, spelling, the ability to properly divide a compound sentence, things of that nature, the use of there, to, those kind of things, I judge. It's a really strong sign for the future of Ole Miss's football program that the quarterback can put together a paragraph that is that good. I'm just telling you.
He used the Oxford comma. I'd rather him not, but I'll move on. It's okay. We'll accept it and we'll move on.
But that's a journalism AP style thing.
Yeah.
So I can let that go. I in fact, if I'm honest, I kind of like the Oxford comma. So I don't use it because I've been trained not to use it. But
okay.
I'm cool with it either way. And the English teacher out there would tell you that it's right. So I'm just telling you that's a really strong sign for the future of the program. I mean, if that is a sign of things to come, I'm bullish on Ole Miss in like 2021 moving forward.
Also, those pinstripe baseball uniforms are pretty nice. They ought to wear those more. I'm just staring at the picture right now as we're talking.
It should be their Friday night suit at home.
That's a really strong suit.
In fact, here's the hot take.
Okay.
They should wear the pinstripe suit at home Friday, Saturday, and then they can continue because it's become a tradition, wear the powder blue on Sunday. They don't need all of the other suits.
See, I still like the red top.
But you could let the red top be your midweek top.
And, they got rid of the all whites this year. Didn't wear them. They're gone.
Yeah. And I always like that suit. I do prefer the pinstripe suit. The white pinstripe suit with red and with the blue letters and stuff is good.
Yeah. Still can take the grays out back and shoot them.
Well, if you're going to do a gray,
just do a traditional gray.
Yes, get back to the drawing board and do a very traditional
Call
gray.
Nike and be like, we just need a gray suit.
Very conservative, very simple gray suit.
So Ashford commits. Look, he'll get here when Matt Corral is a sophomore. This is shape. I mean, it's good for Ole Miss because people are going to sprain ankles. Stuff happens. You need as many quarterbacks as you get in the room, but he does feel like a guy who is going to push for early time. I mean, this is nothing but a positive for Ole Miss because it's going to help everybody.
I don't know if you watched it. Chad Simmons did a video breakdown that was really good. I know there are people out there that they hate the Rivals Network, Mike Farrell, blah, blah, blah. They don't like stuff Simmons said when Tunsil committed to Ole Miss. I don't know. I don't have the time to hold the grudges forever like some people. But anyway, watch it. Even if you put the damn thing on mute, it's really good. Chad did a really good job with it. And one of the things that you learn in that video that I didn't know, because this kid comes from a really strong high school program. He's only started one season. This will be his second year as the starter. He's still developing, very much in the early phases of developing as a football player. His football's in front of him. He's going to be in some degree when he gets here, a very much unformed piece of clay. There is a lot of tools, a lot of skill set that can be developed and developed probably pretty quickly when he gets to Oxford because he's going to be in a very good program this year at Hoover. He's only going to get better and better and better.
Yeah, and fits multiple skill sets, does a lot of different things.
Here's before we get off that, I want to stay here for 1 second.
Yeah.
People get into offers, and he could have gone to a whole lot of places. It really came down to kind of Auburn, Florida, Ole Miss. He didn't. Auburn didn't back off. They still wanted him. He didn't go to Auburn because they signed two, blue chip guys a year ago. The fact that Dan Mullen recruited him as hard as he did, to me, is a really strong sign. You can think what you think about Mullen the guy, Mullen the coach, Mullen the whatever. He's a pretty good quarterback evaluator. He's discovered a handful of really good college quarterbacks in his time. And the fact that he wanted Ashford the way that he did on just a very short sample size to look at tells me a lot.
Ole Miss with a very, very young quarterback room, but at least getting a lot of able bodies, a lot of guys that do feel kind of the skill set of what they're looking for at the position. And it's really the only negative, but they had no choice because you got to start somewhere. There's just you're kind of curious, and I don't mean this. This is not bad. This is just the way life works. We will see a pecking order. Some guys will leave. Some guys will shake out. It'll be what it is. The only sort of negative is that all these dudes are the same age right now. You know what I mean? There's not the balance along the different classifications. But again, you got to start somewhere, and you'd much rather start with freshmen than you would JUCO kids because that's the way to build a program.
Oh, there's no doubt. You got a young room, and I think you and I talked about this probably off the podcast. I'm going to be careful with how I do it on the podcast. But when you have a young room like that, what it does is it lets you sort of take a gamble. And not that Robbie Ashford's a gamble. He's not. I mean, Robbie Ashford's floor is still pretty high. But it lets you kind of roll the dice on a high-ceiling guy. He's only played 1 year as a starter, so you don't really know what you're getting, and you don't know how long it will take for you to get there and that kind of thing. But you know that the materials are there, the tools are there to be an elite quarterback. And you can roll those dice when you have at least This will be Corral's second year. So you have at least this season and one more with Matt. And realistically, you have more than that. But he could conceivably go pro if he blew up over the next 2 years.
Right.
You know what I'm saying.
After the 20 season.
Yeah, before anybody goes crazy. I'm just saying, if you're running a program, you have to think about that kind of thing. If you're running a program, you have to think, okay, well, if Matt Corral's as good as we think he is, and he develops in the way that we think he'll develop, and he blows up, there's no guarantee that Matt Corral wouldn't test the waters. So you have to think about that. And then they have the other kids that are true freshmen. And like you said, there's going to be a pecking order established. Realistically, you're not going to keep all of those quarterbacks at quarterback on campus together for 3 or 4 years. It's not realistic. That's not how it works. So you bring in a guy, and then you want to bring in a guy behind Ashford, and you want to bring in a guy behind the guy that's behind Ashford. You want to stack quarterbacks. That's how you do it. Will there be attrition? Absolutely. Will kids get unhappy and leave? Yep. But the one who survives the competition and wins the job is going to be more tested, more ready.
And pretty talented as of right now, it looks like. So
yeah, I mean, it's what it tells you. I mean, if for example, Kincaid Dent is the quarterback in 2 years, it's going to mean that he really developed. It's going to mean that he's really good.
Beat out Grant Tisdale and Robbie Ashford and Matt Corral or whatever.
Oh, yeah, or it means that Matt
Corral blew up and he replaced him. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, that's the point. Is there going to be attrition? Yes. That's why it's two things I always say, because I get the question all the time, and I've had people email me with, I hate that answer, and I get it. But when they say, well, how do they make the numbers work? Because the numbers work. Well, I mean, but there's only room for 21 guys. They're going to take 25. Well, so you're saying there's going to be attrition? Yep. Because there always is. There will be attrition.
Such is life.
There will be kids in the class that they just signed that either will get unhappy, will want to transfer out, will get processed, just the way it works. And then when people talk about, well, what about, are they saving room in this class for, let me go ahead and answer this question. Are they saving room in this class for J.J. Pegues? Yes. For McKinley Jackson? Yes. For Reggie Grimes? Yes. For Jabari Small? Yep. For a lot of, they're going to figure it out. And if they blow up and all of a sudden kids that were, pie in the sky kids for them in June become very realistic options for them in December and February, I promise you they'll figure it out. They're not going to leave elite difference maker type of players on the cutting room floor the morning of signing day. It's just not how it goes. And just people say, well, what does that mean? It means what you think it means. It means that you start encouraging other kids to maybe reevaluate their options. It's just how it works.
I think that's 14 commitments this month. Is it finally at a little bit more of a stopping point? Where are we at overall?
For the month of June?
Yes.
I think that's it for June. I think July will start with a couple of bangs.
Okay. 20 commitments right now. Again, 18 that have rankings. Some guys that will be re-ranked at some point that sort of, not placeholder rankings, but as we get into the season, people see them more in person, that kind of thing. And then Ole Miss sitting 12th right now nationally in commitments through 18 ranked commits.
If you go back, I wrote this in 10 Thoughts. I'm surprised that I haven't gotten any pushback on it. If you go back and turn the page at the morning of the December signing period when Nakobe Dean went to Georgia.
Yep.
Since that day, and look, that day counts. I'm not saying it doesn't. That season last year counts. I'm not saying it doesn't. But since that day, Matt Luke's had a pretty good run here. He's brought in 2 really good coordinators. I think he has vastly improved his coaching staff. They closed really strong in February, and they appear to be recruiting at a really high level right now.
They are executing their plan.
they're recruiting a broader base of talent. God, I don't even want to do this because my staycation starts today. I really don't want to make it. I don't want to make it hectic. They're recruiting at a broader base of talent than his predecessor did. Bye, Campbell. Tell Caroline I said have fun. Sorry.
Define what you mean by that.
So, Freeze signed a couple of classes that were top heavy.
Yeah.
Had superstars at the top. Those classes had holes in them. Gaping holes that we saw. You could see them on signing day. And now, bye, Caroline. Love you too. Okay. Those classes, if you look at them, they had holes in them, and you could see them. Now, Matt's classes might have holes in them. We just don't see them yet. We'll see. We'll find out. I mean, we say this all the time. It's another cliche, but, man, it's the truest one we use in what we do. It's a scoreboard business. We'll know. That, every game's going to start 0-0, and they'll run a clock, and at the end of it, someone will be declared a winner. So we'll see. But the class that he just signed and the one that they're putting together now appear to be more balanced, appear to be foundational classes. I don't know that Freeze ever really had and look, they did a great job. He won a Sugar Bowl. I get it. I don't know that their classes were ever as foundational as these are. And I think that is supported by the way the program sort of fell apart when the Stars left.
Yeah, I think I buy that. I mean, when you even look back at it, we do those, signing class and reviews and things. And there would be positions where, like, hey, there's no linebacker, or there's no linebacker with Power 5 offers, or, you know what I mean? There was spots where it was like, these 10 guys have propped this class up, but then here we are.
They didn't do particularly well on stacking linebackers, on stacking running backs. They left gaping holes in the roster.
Yeah.
And look, these guys might be doing the same thing, but on paper it doesn't look like it.
Right. So a lot of Ashford coverage at rebelgrove.com. That video, there's Chad's story, and Neil had a story as well, so you can read a good bit of comprehensive coverage on Ashford. We'll continue the podcast in one second. First, I'll tell you about G&M Pharmacy there on South Lamar in Oxford. Deliver local in the Oxford area to your home or workplace. Now for MedSync, which allows them to fill all your prescriptions the same day every month. It makes it easy. It makes it simple for you. You don't have to travel, do a lot of different trips to the pharmacy, all there at one time. And as we've been telling you last year, we're going to start telling you a little more again. Remember, they have the brand alternative, Sildenafil, that will take care of that issue if you have it. You don't have to talk to anybody to do that. You can go to TysonDrugs.com or GNMPharmacy.com. You just click product request and request a prescription right there online. Again, you can break those tablets into quarters, halves, whatever you need. It gets you ready in about 15 minutes. So you can find out more, 662-236-2222.
Guest will join us this week on the Patterson and Earhart hotline. Patterson and Earhart, attorneys at law. They specialize in personal injury law and real estate law. But theirs is a general practice. It can handle any of your legal needs. When you contact Patterson and Earhart, you speak to one of the partners in the firm. That's who handles your case, not some paralegal at a faceless corporate firm. If you think you have a legal issue, if you just want to discuss a potential legal issue, take advantage of being a podcast listener. Get in touch with John Calvin Patterson and or Wes Earhart. They're Ole Miss guys. They're local guys. When you get them on the phone, they're going to give you their time. That's guaranteed. They're going to do it in the same day, and that initial consultation is free. 662-526-1992, or check out their website, PELaws.com. Podcast also brought to you by our great friends at Blue Delta Jeans on Thursday from 5 to 10 p.m. at Wonderbird Spirits Distillery in Taylor. They're having a trunk show featuring all of their raw denim, the Holland and Surrey cottons, and the new fabrics from their summer collection. Wonderbird is a new gin distillery. Use jasmine rice grown in the Mississippi Delta. It's at 618 County Road 303 in Taylor. There will be food there served by Chef Mitch McCamey of Neon Pig, music by Kel Kellum. If you want more information, if you have questions, send them an email, info@bluedeltajeans.com, info, I-N-F-O, at bluedeltajeans.com. The podcast is also brought to you by Pinnacle Trust. Pinnacle Trust, based in Madison, Mississippi. They have clients in more than 20 states, advisors in 3 states. Founded in 1997, Pinnacle Trust provides detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much more. Pinnacle Trust treats investing like a commodity. Decisions are made using objective information and research, not emotions. So regardless of your level of wealth, Pinnacle Trust sits down with you, listens to your goals, studies your expenses, and puts forth a comprehensive, detailed financial and retirement plan that is built just for you. It's pintrust.com, P-I-N-N trust.com. Mention you heard about Pinnacle Trust on the podcast. You'll get 10% off your first year's fee. And speaking of football, don't miss 1 minute of the action at the Vault this season as Ole Miss football arrives in September. Reserve your season tickets with the new 2019 season ticket pricing for just $299. For more information, visit OleMissTix.com. That's OleMissTix.com.
So a little continuation of the story we talked about yesterday with Mickey Callaway and the Mets. He said some profanities at Tim Healy of Newsday a couple days ago after a loss to the Cubs. He was in that cramped Wrigley Field clubhouse we mentioned. So again, just kind of a little bit where that was. Yesterday, you mentioned that the GM for the Mets had traveled to Philadelphia to be with the team, something that was not previously scheduled. However, he was not fired. He was just told to apologize, and he botched the first one. He meets with the media. He says that he's sorry for the distraction, essentially, but not sorry for what he did. At one point, even mentioning that one time Billy Martin punched a reporter and just said that's part of the game. So Callaway screws up the apology, and come to find out, as I'm reading this, I didn't know exactly the situation that happened. And Callaway had walked out toward like the catering table or the food line after the game on the day that it happens, but he had already changed clothes. And Tim Healy thought that he was leaving the park and just going to the hotel or going wherever he was going, and just said, "Hey, see you tomorrow, Mickey." And that's what spurred it, because he was wearing a pair of jeans or whatever, because he wasn't in uniform anymore. And so yesterday, when they asked, how are you going to avoid this in the future, his answer was, eat at the hotel, not at the post-game meal.
Well, they were getting on a plane. They were flying to Philly.
Yeah.
And Healy thought that, okay, I know how this works from going to a lot of Cubs games. I've been to a lot of getaway days, Sunday getaway days, Cub games, because when Carson was a little boy, we would pick those games intentionally because he could go run the bases after the game, like they do at Ole Miss, like they do at a lot of places, right? I mean, the kids get to run the bases on the last day of a homestand and then whatever. So when you do that, the buses that the away team takes to get out, they have to walk down the first base concourse, and then out, and then over to their bus. So Healy thought, because he was changed, the reporter, that he was leaving to walk to the buses, and the buses take them to, I would assume, O'Hare, and they jump on their charter and go to Philly. So it was a really innocent remark. Hey, see you tomorrow. I mean, it wasn't.
You spend 250 days a year together, so hey, what's up? Holler at you tomorrow. Whatever.
It was. I mean, it was kind of his way of, safe travels. I mean, see you tomorrow. And the reporters go back to the hotel and get their stuff, and then Healy probably had a flight on Monday morning out of Chicago to Philly. To meet the team. It's not a glamorous life.
No, it sucks.
The team chartered. That's all it was hey, basically, I'm not going to see you anymore here today. I'll see you tomorrow in Philly. And for whatever reason, Callaway blew up at it, and then yesterday could not have bungled it worse.
So then he calls another press conference or media gathering about an hour before the game, which is uncommon. And let's see, here it is. It took 36 seconds. And he didn't take questions. He just said, just real quick, I understand that I got some feedback, and I wanted you guys to know that in my meeting with Tim, I apologize for my reaction. I shouldn't have done that. I'm not proud of what I did to Tim, and for that, I'm definitely sorry. New York media killing him today, as expected.
Well, they had all day. This is the stuff that blows me away. It's kind of like the Hugh Freeze, Laramie Tunsil, Lindsey Miller Esquire deal. It was so avoidable. You knew you had a problem when it happened yesterday. So you had a flight, you had a Sunday night, you had all the
you had multiple meetings.
Yeah, phone calls, meetings, the GM comes to town, everything. You know they got together at the hotel in Philly, at the ballpark at Philly, to say, okay, here's what we're saying. We can't – what happened can't happen. We can't have – you can't call a media member an MFer right there in front of everybody. And we can't have one of our pitchers threaten to assault said media member. It just doesn't work. You can't – you can hate the media, but you can't do that. And they had all day to get it right. And Callaway does the I'm too big to apologize thingy.
It's an interesting deal because, I mean, Mickey was on our show last winter, but I mean, we're not friends. We're not even acquaintances. We have several mutual friends. I feel really bad for him just in the sense of, yeah, it was really, really stupid. He must be one stressed son of a gun because it does appear to be completely out of character and he just can't get out of his own way right now.
Yeah. It makes me wonder, is there no one in charge over there who can sit down with, and I know the answer to this because we see this with Sports Information at Ole Miss and other places. It's one of the problems with it is the guy in media relations does not have the power or the gravitas or whatever to look at the coach and go, hey, I know you're making $1 gazillion and I'm making peanuts. And I know you think of me as just some random lackey, but I'm here to help you. And here's what you need to say. And here's how you need to say it. And you need to practice. We need to get this right. We need to diffuse this. But because of the dynamics of these jobs and stuff, the media relations people are typically scared of the coaches that they handle, and therefore they don't help them.
I kind of laughed at it. I was reading coverage, so I went to Newsday first since it was their organization that obviously the media member had the confrontation with him. And their Yankees beat writer was asking Aaron Boone about it, and I laughed because Aaron Boone could have not wanted those questions any more than he did not want them. I mean, it was the most deflection thing, like, hey, I don't know what's going on. I hadn't read nothing, no idea. I don't know what they're doing over there. Ask me anything else, please, God. Thank you. Yeah, it was good. And they wrote a whole story on it. I guess I give the person credit, but yeah, Aaron Boone had no desire to answer those questions.
No, I'm sure he didn't. It's a lesson for everybody out there, though. And there's this. Twitter's a funny place because you get to see bizarre world constantly, but there's a real media hatred, and it goes both ways. It's a political thing. You have a lot of Republican people hate the media because they think that the media is unfair to Trump or that the media is very biased in a liberal way, and it is. And then you have people who are, very liberal who are mad at the media for not going after Trump harder or whatever. And so there's just a lot of media hate. And then there's, let's face it, the Fox Newses and the MSNBCs of the world. It's all about ratings. It's all about getting an audience. There's just not as much. I don't know. Not that there ever was objective media, but there's not much objective media. We battle this a lot. I mean, there's people in our network. It happened yesterday. I'm not getting into the names, but there were people that were kind of arguing about whether we're supposed to cheer for the team we cover, right? And you're like, God, no.
I missed this.
Oh yeah, I'll have to tell you about it. It was happening publicly.
Was it really?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
And it just, stuff like that. It's the people get confused. But if you're covering the New York Mets, you're covering the Mets. That's what you do. You don't travel with the team, but you travel where the team travels. You're around them all the time. And this animosity towards beat writers, I've always thought it was really odd. And you see it in sports. And in baseball, it's kind of it's almost like a cool thing, and maybe this will change as more guys play college baseball and get around a little more structured media. But like in minor league baseball, guys are almost taught, hey man, you got to hate the media. It's just like a part of the job, and it's unnatural for them. And so, but it happens. I've seen it, and Barkis is one of these guys, and he's a college guy. He started at LSU, and then I think he switched to Cal State somewhere, Long Beach.
Sounds right, yeah.
I can't remember, one of the California schools. And he's known as a media hater, like is antagonistic.
He was fined $10,000. He makes $8 million a year.
Yeah, I mean it's nothing. And look, who cares? But I'll tell you this, as a rule, people who will not apologize when they're clearly in the wrong, won't say the words "I'm sorry." I cannot stand those people.
Long Beach State.
Long Beach State. If you're wrong and you do something wrong and you hurt somebody or whatever, just, it's okay to see. It's not a sign of weakness to say you're sorry. It's not. It's not a sign of weakness.
It was also the thing to make this go away.
Yeah, a little contrition.
Just make it go away. Deal with something else. You got enough problems on your hands anyway.
You know who I feel sorry for in this? I feel sorry for Tim Healy because the last thing he wanted was for this story to be about him. He didn't want it. He didn't write about it. His paper, the columnist wrote about it and talked to him, interviewed him as a subject.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah. He didn't write about it. He got kicked out of the clubhouse. Couldn't do his job. I mean, he walks out of there thinking, what am I supposed to do? What did I do? I told somebody to have a nice day? See you tomorrow? Safe travels?
I know it was just hot-headedness and just pissed off at the world, but I can't even really figure out what he thought that connotation was.
It tells you that everything behind the scenes is as combustible and dysfunctional as you can imagine.
So it also comes out this week that the GM has been dictating managerial decisions during the game.
Yeah. And he denies it, but come on, it's true.
Yeah, come on.
Come on.
Including pitching changes.
Yeah, and, took DeGrom out of a game early in Arizona. And then, in that game Sunday, not only did they blow a lead without the closer, although the guy that gave up the runs, Lugo, had not given up a run in the month of June. But, DeGrom had kind of displayed some signs of discomfort in the sixth inning and left early. And when he left, it was 3-2 Mets. And then, Baez hits the home run. I don't know. The Mets are that team that they refuse to acknowledge that, hey, we're not winning this division. They're not as good as the Braves. They're not going to catch the Braves. They're probably not as good as the Phillies. They might not be as good as the Nationals. And quite frankly, the Marlins might have more young pieces than they've got. And the Mets, instead of doing the smart thing, which would be having a controlled fire sale and collecting a lot of pieces, which is what baseball teams do right now, collect assets. And they have the pieces that would get assets. Zach Wheeler, Noah Syndergaard. The list goes on and on. Guys that you could get quality young pieces for, controllable assets for. They're hanging on to this delusion that they're going to win the division, and they're not. They're not. It just shows you that there's just dysfunction throughout the organization.
Yeah, they're not winning the division in the next 5 years.
But I won't go that far because who knows. But
my point is being on this current trend, unless they do what you're talking about.
Yeah, unless
this current crop of players is not winning the division.
Yeah, you look around baseball and you look at the teams that have gotten it done, that are getting it done. Not and for whatever reason the Mets refuse to be a Dodgers type of big market team. So if you're going to do it as a traditional market, you got to look at what Houston did. You got to look at what Atlanta did. Look at what the White Sox are doing. I mean, there are examples of teams out there that are rebuilding in the appropriate manner and are quietly putting together behemoths. And you could do it in New York. I mean, think of the haul you could get for Noah Syndergaard, the haul you could get for Zach Wheeler. It just goes on and on. I mean, you could get quality players for some of the pieces that they have on that team. But they're under this delusion because of ego that, no, we're going to win. And so they go into the offseason and they trade for Robbie Cano and all that kind of stuff. And it's bizarre to me that all the analytics tell you go young, go young, go young, and some of the dumber people just go old.
Kind of get what you deserve.
You do. Well, you do. I mean, but you're in a division where you see the Braves 19 times a year. You see what they're doing. It's right there in front of you. That's how you do it.
Phillies are on a tailspin, by the way. I don't know what they've done the last couple of days, but they had lost 16 of 22.
Yeah, their pitching is giving up a lot of home runs. Their defense is bad. There's a lot of balls. I mean, they've not been good since McCutchen got hurt. And there are a lot of balls that are landing in the outfield that analytically should not be landing in the outfield. And it has to be what really frightens the Phillies. Because if Bryce Harper is going to be this immobile in the outfield in his mid-20s, damn, dude, what's he going to look like at 35? And if you don't have the DH, I mean, the Phillies, I can tell you, are voting for the DH.
Because of one player.
Well, I mean, probably for more than that. But, yeah, I mean, can Bryce Harper play first base? I mean, you got to figure that out. Because I don't think analytically you can keep him in right field much longer.
That really does have a chance to look back and be a bad deal. Potentially a really bad deal.
Oh, it's got the potential to be a disastrous deal.
Yeah.
I mean, people make fun of the Hayward deal in Chicago. Hayward's numbers right now in 2019 are almost identical to what his numbers were in 2015 with the Cardinals when he got the big contract. And Hayward is analytically still a superior defensive outfielder. Mm-hmm. He can play center, he can play right. I'm not saying Jason Hayward is better than Bryce Harper. He's not. But for half the money, probably is.
Yeah. Podcast brought to you in part by Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. Underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. You're getting local underwriting and understands your market, a leader in condo financing and the float down option. And the float down option might be better than you think because interest rates are at their lowest point in the last couple of years. So if you've bought or refinanced during that period, maybe it's time to give Jason a call and just see if you can do a little better right now. You can do that at 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com.
The podcast also brought to you by the Westin Jackson. I'm taking questions on Twitter and at rebelgrove.com for my mailbag, which is sponsored by the Westin Jackson. The Westin Jackson, a Marriott property, is home to Soul Spa, the ultimate luxury spa experience in downtown Jackson, also to Estelle Wine Bar and Bistro, where you can sip on a creative craft cocktail or enjoy their curated wine list. It's open for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and Sunday brunch. Chef Caden, his offerings are fantastic always. Highly recommend them. You will thoroughly enjoy them. That's at the Westin Jackson in downtown Jackson. Podcast also brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. If you've been thinking about that golf trip, maybe an anniversary trip, a cruise on the Caribbean, a resort in Florida, whatever the case may be, get in touch with John. He's part of Virtuoso. It's a worldwide network of travel partners that allows him to supply his clients with added values and unique benefits that are simply not available to other travelers. John traveled the globe for 37 years before getting into the travel business. He knows the extra attention that's needed to make a special trip one that creates a lifetime of unique memories. So get in touch with John, give him some parameters, give him a budget, and let him give you some options. And you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. 901-494-3387 or send him an email, jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off their first booked trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. It's a podcast that's also brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles. If they don't have it in, they'll get it in. Great service there. I've been doing business with them for more than a decade, and they're fantastic. They're consistent. You'll love doing business with them as well. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. And we're brought to you by Harry Alexander. Harry is an Oxford-based RE/MAX Legacy Realty agent. He's a big part of Savannah Square, which is a 9-acre development 0.7 of a mile from the Oxford downtown square, conveniently located east of North Lamar, just a short stroll from the Midtown Shopping Center. You can check out the model home of Savannah Square at 215 William Street. When you go to the home, I've been there. You can check out the wonderful layouts that are available to you, the impeccable finishes that are available to you. Get in touch with Harry, 662-801-5621, or check out the website. It's savannahsquareoxford.com.
So, we always talk NCAA stuff. The thing coming out, I think originally from USA Today, Steve Berkowitz writing this, all stemming from a letter that Mark Emmert, the head of the NCAA, as everybody's aware of, said to 2 chairs of the state assembly committees in California. Have you seen this?
No.
As California State Assembly attempts to pass a bill that would allow college athletes from the state to receive compensation for usage of their likeness, name or image, as we've been talking, that's something that's been in the news a lot. Emmert implied that schools within the state could and likely would be banned from NCAA competition if that bill becomes law, because it would create an uneven playing field that would take the integrity out of the NCAA championships.
If you're watching on ESPN 21 right now, you saw me just turn my mic off.
We recognized all of the efforts that have been undertaken to develop this bill in the context of complex issues related to the current collegiate model that have been the subject of litigation and much national debate. Nonetheless, when contrasted with current NCAA rules as drafted, the bill threatens to alter materially the principles of intercollegiate athletics and create local differences that would make it impossible to host fair national championships. As a result, it likely would have a negative impact on the exact student athletes it intends to assist.
I'll ask you the question that I know I'll get from people today.
Okay.
Does he even believe the words coming out of his own mouth? Even a little bit? In other words,
at this point, probably so. Because I think to be this effective of a liar, you have to believe it a little bit. Instead of championing them for trying to make some differences and figuring out loopholes and changes and say, hey, why don't we do this nationally and federally and all these kind of things? No, let's just kick the state of California out of the NCAA. How about that? Let's just do that.
I mean, but here's the problem. And this is the problem, is if you're going to be a true believer, as he's coming across here, right?
Yep.
How do you not react in a more visceral way to the basketball scandal that's been going on now for a couple of years, and to the scandal at LSU that's unfolding?
Well, because you have Thanksgiving dinner with the family.
Oh, because there might be a conflict. Do you think it's possible that, I'm just asking, that LSU knew this was coming, because LSU knew it was coming, that LSU fired the last cat so that they could bring in Woodard as almost a it's like, hey, I know we're going to get in trouble, so I'm going to hire the FBI director's son. I mean, is that possible?
I don't know. He's been the president of the NCAA since 2010. There have been so many missteps by that organization since then. And you've allowed all these different things to go down right now, including LSU, when, he was the chancellor of the freaking school.
Yeah.
Even take out the Woodward stuff. The ties and connections he has to that university.
Hey, I'll go further. A lot of the people that are wrapped up in this deal at LSU, I guarantee you Emmert's personal friends with them. Baton Rouge isn't that big. The rich people know each other.
Of course. He hired Nick Saban at LSU.
I'm well aware.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
And I mean, Saban knows how the game gets played down there.
Wasn't there very long.
They're long enough.
Yeah. Then was at the University of Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, look. This thing probably isn't passing anyway. It passed California's Senate, but now approval is needed from whatever the heck the Assembly's Arts, Entertainment, Sports, Tourism, and Internet Media Committee is. That sounds great. If the bill survives that hearing, it would then go to the Higher Education Committee, which would then have to pass by July 11th. So we're talking about a really quick time frame here. Also, if it went into effect, it wouldn't actually go into effect until 2023. So still like 5 years or 4 years away.
It is the single most sensible solution to some of the problems.
Yes.
I mean, let's make this full circle. Let's take our boy Robbie Ashford. Let's say he comes to Oxford and sets the world on fire. Does it really matter if he gets represented by a Mercedes dealership in Jackson or Memphis or whatever?
I don't even care what they pay. I just want it publicly known.
Well, yeah, make it publicly known.
To where everybody looks at the guy at the Mercedes dealership and goes, oh, you're an idiot. Okay, fine, whatever. Be an idiot. Not my problem.
Yeah, be an idiot. Everything has to be public. And, I mean, even if you want to go further and say all compensation is deferred until post-eligibility, which I'm not for the record, but if you wanted to do it that way, got put into a trust, I'm okay with that even. I mean, just come up with something.
It wouldn't even take 50 states. If a couple more, 5 more of the right ones, states joined California in this, the NCAA would have no choice but to say okay.
Yeah, when people say, well, that's going to mean that the
if
power
Florida and Texas said, you know what, California's right, we're in.
We're in, yeah.
I mean, come on.
Well, when people say, well, that's going to mean the power programs win, kind of like now?
Yeah, good. Thanks, guys.
I mean, so, boy, it's going to make Kentucky basketball a monster. Yeah. Kind of like now? The only difference is it'd be above board. Mostly.
Let's see. Democrat Bill Dodd from California says what we're doing is setting a marker. Having this date set forward to 2023 allows the NCAA to do the job they should be doing, not just for California, but for the other 49 states in our union.
Agreed.
Yeah. Good job, Bill.
Bill, you are welcome to join the Common Sense Party.
Yeah.
Give me a call.
Oh gosh. Anyway,
hey, Speaking of athletes, congratulations to Bruce Stevens. He signed a professional deal in Lebanon. He will be playing for Anabal Zali.
Okay.
In the Lebanon LBL. I guess that's the Lebanon Basketball League. So, congrats.
What does that make? What does that pay?
We did not study Lebanese business at ULM. I don't know.
I see Dan's still on a warpath.
Oh, what's he doing?
Let's see. He's he was mad last night, and then somebody said, let's see. Somebody said something about how he unfairly bashed Ole Miss, and Dan came back with there was nothing unfair about telling you that you were going to get major penalties, which is exactly what happened. I had it right. The Homer media that covers you had it wrong. He's very sensitive.
Dan, the Homer media that you're referencing, because he's talking about you and me.
I know. I think he listens to the show still.
We wrote in December of 2017 that it was going to be really bad. In fact, we referenced a multi-year bowl ban and show causes. What we wrote was so inflammatory that the people at Ole Miss sat down with us to talk about what we were hearing. Not because they were mad, but because they knew we were right, and they were trying to figure out what the hell was going on. Because they weren't being kept in the loop by the NCAA any longer. They were being treated as a hostile witness. You're an idiot, Dan. You're a biased, unobjective. You're sitting at the trough. You give preferential treatment to the programs that you like. You offer your assistance to programs that you like. That was the funny part, by the way, that Tennessee stuff, man. That was hilarious. And now you look like a hypocrite because you are a hypocrite.
Yeah, just stumbled across that this morning. So
some of the people that you worship in your field are doing their jobs. They're actually writing about it. You're not.
No. I mean, we've been critical. Pat and them done a good job.
They've written about it.
I mean, I don't know. Whatever. I was looking for the other one, but I can't find the start of it. If I see it, I'll let you know. I'm kind of scrolling through. Vanderbilt dead in the water, or you think they can still win too?
Oh, they can still win too. Michigan's done more than I thought they would do. I thought Vanderbilt would roll through.
That kid did a heck of a job.
Yeah, I didn't watch last night. I saw the score. I didn't see
the Henry kid from Michigan has been on a hell of a roll lately, and he was dominant last night. But even I was talking to a couple buddies yesterday morning who were trying to figure out how to bet on the game, and the Vanderbilt in game 2. Vanderbilt for the series, but then Michigan game 1 made sense because, out of the 3 starters, Drake Fellows for Vanderbilt's probably their least effective starter. You can get to him a little bit. I mean, Michigan put up like 7 runs last night. In saying that, Michigan to win the national title today has got to deal with Kumar Rocker. So
yeah, I like Vandy's chances today, and then in a game 3. I mean,
who knows?
A one-game season in anything.
Is Tim Corbin going to be that guy that needs like a voodoo doll or something when this is over? Because if Michigan wins this, Michigan will have beat him for a national championship and was the program that knocked them out of that regional in 07, which was the biggest collapse in NCAA baseball history. Michigan's the team that beat David Price and Mike Minor and Pedro Alvarez in 07.
Oh, that's right. They did.
It was Michigan.
Yeah, he can't like Michigan, although the coach at Michigan coached at Vanderbilt for a long time.
Yeah, Eric Bakich. He also was on the East Carolina team with Cliff Godwin when they were players. Full circle. Yeah, the tweet last night was the fact that one particular fan base seems to be really mad that I haven't weighed in on the LSU football story yet. In parentheses, I'm efforting more info currently. Proves that the obsession has always gone one way.
No, Danny. Nope.
Yeah, that was the tweet last night.
Nope.
Somebody goes, well, because it's not a big story from a sports standpoint or something, and he goes, well, I mean, it might be, but there's a distinct lack of detail out there publicly thus far.
Dan,
lack of detail.
Dan, he pled guilty in court.
Then somebody goes, no, JP Funes is a piece of garbage who will rightly go to jail, but the widespread corruption with OSU athletes isn't there. Well, that's wrong. But then Dan says, maybe not. I'm sure the NCAA is asking questions, and they should be.
God, that shrimp cocktail. We've got to go get it.
It must be just...
You and I are going to just have to drive to Indy and go get. We are going to go to St. Elmo and we are going to order a couple of shrimp cocktails and a steak, and you can get a Sazerac and I'll get an old fashioned. It must just be fan-freaking-tastic, like heaven on a plate.
I mean, I do really like shrimp cocktail.
I do too. This one must be orgasmic. I got to try it.
Might not even want the steak. Just want shrimp cocktail for the meal. Just bring like 4 of them.
When the waiter comes out, I might say, I want to order a shrimp cocktail. And he says, well, would you like for me to order an entree? I don't know yet. I might have 3 more of these as an entree, sir.
Every time my glass gets half full, bring another one of those and bring another shrimp cocktail.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't want to see the bottom of my glass, and I don't want to see the bottom of the cocktail sauce. Thank you.
I might walk out of there writing a formal letter of apology to Dan Wolken and saying, I get it. This is so good that you will.
Because when you think shrimp and seafood, you think Indianapolis. So
yeah, I mean, I might walk out of there going, "This is why." I'd sell out for this too.
Yeah. Oh gosh. I'm sure there'll be more today.
And we might even take NCAA Emily with us, and we might be so enthralled by the conversation that we walk out of there going, "You know what?
Is she still the person?"
I think so. We might say, "You know what? These people are great." We might just quit and go run the Butler rival site right there on the spot so that we can eat at St. Elmo every Tuesday. I don't know.
Butler got a rival site?
We could start one.
Okay.
Sure, it's a huge fan base.
Cover a lot of basketball.
Yeah.
Do they have a baseball program?
I don't know. IUPUI, maybe they got something. Yeah.
Okay.
Ooey pooey.
Yeah, ooey pooey. All right. Podcast brought to you in part by Master Cuts Lawn and Landscape. You know, they do premium lawn care throughout northern Mississippi, but they offer a lot more as well. They build your custom playgrounds, retaining walls, pool decks, outdoor living spaces with paver patios, forestry, mulching, and much more. The path to your dream backyard easier than you think. You can see them online at gomastercuts.com for examples of work or a free quote, or you can get that at 662-607-7773. Again, gomastercuts.com.
The podcast also brought to you by Oxford University Bank, OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. This weekend, OUB is hosting the 6th annual Oxford University Bank two-person scramble, June 29th and 30th. Entry is it's at the Ole Miss Golf Course. The entry is $225 per player. That includes 2 days of golf, cart, lunch both days, breakfast both days, beverages on the course, and a Calcutta dinner. To learn more, to register, go to oubgolftournament.com. You can purchase a whole sponsorship for just $100 at the website. If you have questions, you can email Gant Boone at oubol.com, or you can just call the bank, 662-234-6668. The podcast also brought to you by Scoopers Pet Waste Removal. Everyone loves their pets, but no one loves stepping in their pet's stuff. Tracking that stuff into the house can be a nightmare. So get in touch with Scoopers. They'll go into your backyard, your apartment complex, your condominium, and pick up what no one really wants to pick up. They'll do it for $10 a cleaning, and they'll clean up your yard. They'll do it on your schedule, whether that's weekly, bi-weekly, or a one-time service. No contracts required. You can cancel at any time. If you have multiple dogs, it's just $2 for each additional dog. So if you own a home, a condo, or an apartment complex in Oxford and you'd like to deal with a lot less crap, call Scoopers at 662-506-2754 or send them an email, scoopers.oxfordpetwaste@gmail.com to get your cleanings scheduled today. And we're brought to you by 7 South Tailgating. 7 South is the premier tailgating service provider at Ole Miss. They offer your standard tailgating services such as tent, table, chair, setup, breakdown, but they also offer so much more. They'll set up, break down, store your own personal gear. You can rent your gear from them. They offer cooler, ice beverage service, TV, satellite, generator service, storage bins for supplies and decor, chandeliers, tablecloths, rope lighting, box fans, pretty much everything except guaranteed victory. They offer it at 7 South Tailgating. Get in touch with them today. Call or go online for a detailed quote customized to your specific needs. The number is 662-321-1682, or you can visit 7southtailgating.com.
Tyler Keenan participating in the college world, or the college home run derby that is there at TD Ameritrade in Omaha. I believe it's the third time in 4 years that Ole Miss has had a participant in that event. So Keenan going up there for that. Bortles and Sykes Orvis, the two other Rebels to be in that. Let's see. Giannis won MVP. I see.
Yeah, he got MVP, and the Rockets are all hurt. The Rockets as an organization need psychological assistance. They need counseling. They've had a rough offseason.
They have a very strange existence.
They do. Harden is a different cat. It's why when the Thunder get beat up about Harden, it's fair, but there's one part of it that this is why people hate media, and I get it. They always assume that Harden would have stayed. And Chase, I'm telling you, that cat was not staying. He wanted to be his own guy. He did not want to he did not want to share the limelight with Kevin Durant and or Russell Westbrook. He was always going to leave, and he's gone to Houston, and he and Chris Paul no longer coexist that well. And Chris Paul has no trade value, and now, because of the injuries to Durant and Klay Thompson, people view the West as wide open, and Houston's trying to sort of get the mustard back into the container, the toothpaste back into the tube. It's hard to do. But, yeah, Giannis won it. He's a great young player. His game is still developing, and he deserved to win it. He was the best player in the league consistently the entire season.
Who was the coach of the year?
Budenholzer.
Okay.
With the Bucks. Bucks were a fun story.
Let's see. Just kind of scrolling. Anything else on that?
This shows you the relationship that. So Carson's 12, as you know. Carson left for camp yesterday, and Carson's final instructions to me were, Dad, email me who wins all the NBA awards tonight, because they can't have their phone at camp, and I want to know what happened in baseball.
Email me.
Send because you can send emails to your kids. So my 2 camp emails, I'm sure all the other kids are getting emails with "I miss you." And,
yeah, hope you're having a great time. Blah 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 blah.
Mine was, hey Carson, here are the 2 Steven Adams rumors today, Sacramento and Boston. These are the deals. This is how much, because I know the questions. This is how much those players make. This is how it would work. And then I sent him a thing last night with he wanted to know who won the Cubs game. He knew that the Cardinals closer was going in for an MRI. If the results of the MRI were known, he wanted me to email those to him. And also, he wanted to make sure that before I went to bed, I emailed him who won all of the NBA awards last night. So he got.
Does he get to check this, or do they print it out and then give him the pages?
They print it out and give him the pages. So I'm sure that I did not sufficiently give him enough detail. But I was giving him details about Bogan Bogdanovic and Willie Cauley-Stein. And, yeah, I mean, that's the pressure part of my life as it pertains to sports, is that at 49, I'm not as interested in sports as I used to be. And I'm dealing with a young person who is like, I guess, mini me from back in the day, and he wants details.
And 12 is just old enough to understand enough to really want details.
Yeah.
Like a lot of detail.
If he went to Boston, Dad, would they get under the apron enough that they could do a sign and trade for Horford? And I'm like, hell, I don't know. I mean, that's like my answer in the car yesterday is, I don't know. And in my mind, I'm going,
I don't cover the Celtics.
Yeah. I mean, I watch the Thunder, Carson, but I don't know how much everybody makes. I just watch the game. I mean, I watched The Bachelorette last night.
You ought to let him, back in the day, I guess they still have, Bill Simmons used to have that trade machine thing. You could just give Carson hours, let him just play, have at it.
ESPN has the trade machine.
Yeah,
he spends so much time on it, and then he gets on the PS4 and he starts building a team.
Yeah.
He likes Kobe White, the kid from North Carolina that got drafted by the Bulls.
Yeah.
He likes Kobe White's hair, and so he has spent his player now is on the Bulls, and he's got Kobe White, and he's trying to rebuild the Bulls with salary cap and stuff. I don't know what. I don't play. No idea.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, you're probably the only person who mentioned Willie Cauley-Stein in an email last night.
That's safe. I mean, the email at the very end was like, "Hey, I hope you're having fun at camp. Love you. Bye."
Yeah, sure.
I was running out of space. He won't even read that much.
Yeah. Oh gosh. It's good for him because he is getting the only sort of thing even close to what even I had to do when I was little, where you have to grab the sports page for the Agate the next morning.
I know he's going to be so angry when he finds out that, because all I wrote was, "Hey, the Cubs beat the Braves 8-3. Contreras and Hayward hit home runs." When he finds out that Contreras hit a home run and that it resulted in a bench emptying.
By the way, he was an ass.
Yeah, Wilson Contreras is one of the most emotional baseball players I've ever seen.
You call it emotional, I call it being an ass, but sure.
And as a catcher, sometimes it doesn't work. But anyway, Carson's going to be furious because I didn't know until this morning what really happened.
Yeah. And
because it happened last night when I was watching The Bachelorette, and Twitter lit up, and I'm like, dude, I'm not doing this right now. Yeah, he's going to be mad when he finds out that, the bench is emptied and everybody yelled at each other and stuff, and that all I said was he hit a home run, they won. Lester pitched pretty well, apparently. And
you left out the color.
But I didn't watch it, so I didn't know it. And I was running out of room in the email.
Do you have a word count?
Yeah, there's a word count. You get 15 emails in this package, and they limit the amount of text, and I was running out of text. And so had I researched what had happened and explained that, well, Contreras got upset about a call and he said something to the umpire, and Flowers
you'd run really out of words.
Yeah, Flowers said something to Contreras, and then Contreras hit a home run, and he yelled at Flowers, and the bench is emptied. And I would have had to fire off another email, and then I just left it at Contreras hit a homer and Hayward hit a homer, and Lester pitched pretty well, and the Cubs won 8-3.
You even wasted characters there because you could smell like Contreras, comma, blank, HR, just written it out almost like a box score.
I could have, but I'm trying to write in sentences so that we communicate in sentence form.
Coming full circle here.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Let's see. We got a lot of recruiting up at the site at rebelgrove.com. Again, all the rash of commitments. You can go back through 14 of them over the course of the month of June. It's probably going to slow down here at least soon, you would think. So go back, recap that. We'll have more stuff on the podcast. A couple guests lined up as the week moves through. No show on Friday, by the way. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back here on Thursday as well, but no show on Friday just for planning purposes, and then back, obviously, on Monday. And I'm not exactly sure what our week of the 4th looks like, but I know we will have a show on Monday. So we'll have all that. Go to rebelgrove.com, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.